Hey friends, welcome back to Burn Stress, Lose Weight. Today we're talking about a concept that I'm calling fragile confidence. It is something that has been on my mind for the past few weeks as I have been talking and connecting with so many of you over email, over on Instagram, and of course on consult calls on Zoom as we were enrolling for our Burn Stress, Lose Weight group coaching program last week. In many of these conversations, I realized that there was this very common thread that particularly touches overachieving, high achieving professional women. And that's what's leading me to this concept. I'm calling it fragile confidence because this is not just a concept that I have noticed recently. This is one that personally I very much resonate with. This was very much my story in why I struggled to lose the weight, to pursue a new career, to create a lot of bold, big dreams for myself for so many years. It's actually one of the reasons that I hesitated so much in taking deep, meaningful action. And I thought that putting words to this concept would be helpful because if this resonates with you, I want you to know that there are ways to really turn it around. The story goes something like this. When things are working really well, when the scale is trending in the direction you want, when you're following through, you're being consistent, when you're getting accolades or positive confirmation from your colleagues, or maybe external validation through words of acknowledgement and recognition from your peers and maybe your partner, you feel on top of the world. You feel really confident in who you are and how you show up. You feel that sense of confidence that we all love and crave. It's like when you got an A plus on that really hard test, or maybe when you passed board exams, that flying high feeling that we all associate with confidence. But at the same time, when something goes wrong, maybe you have a complication with a patient or a client, a project goes sideways, the scale doesn't trend in the direction you want, maybe you fall off track or you mess up, you get negative feedback or some criticisms from a colleague, boss, or maybe from your partner, immediately you feel deflated. You might have imposter thoughts, wondering whether you're really cut out for the work, and you notice that feeling of confidence hinging on your results. And this is what I call fragile confidence. If you feel a little bit called out, I want to start by saying I am literally in the same boat as you, and I have absolutely been there. I think it's very normal and very human for all of us to want results. We want the A plus, we want to pass the board exams, we want our patients and clients to love us and to do well. We all want praise, recognition, and accolades when we're working really hard. We want the scale to trend down. Wanting to have those external metrics to support how amazing you are is very natural. However, what's happened for a lot of overachievers in my conversations with many of you is we sometimes delegate the responsibility of creating confidence on purpose to external metrics. While it's normal to want those external metrics and we all love that soaring high feeling, what this podcast episode is about is how to cultivate the feeling of confidence when the external metrics are not working in your favor. And in my experience now, after working with overachieving women in every industry and deeply doing this work myself, I have realized that really tending to the fragility of my confidence is where my results were living. While I allowed my confidence to be fragile, basically waiting for the whim of my results to work for me or against me, my ability to actually create more for my life, this is both on the scale, for my body goals, and in my career and relationships, were completely stalled. I want to talk about the two ways that I have navigated creating confidence that doesn't feel fragile. And I wanted to record a podcast episode to share it with you. I hope that you find this helpful and think about this concept, how it might apply for your life with your weight loss goals, your body goals, your career and relationship goals, and where might having and keeping the fragility in your confidence really be holding you back in creating the life that you want. The very first place that we can get confidence from is something that I've already shared. It's actually having external metrics and real tangible wins where your brain can have lots of thoughts like, see, we knew we were amazing. When you show up for yourself and the scale's trending down, when you have that positive feedback, it's very normal. This is one place that you're going to have confidence come. And the confidence is not coming from the external metrics. Your confidence, it's a feeling that's coming from a thought you're having about the external metrics. I want to revisit the think, feel, act cycle because just understanding this concept is going to help you understand where and how you can cultivate confidence from no matter what's happening in your life. We talk about the think, feel, act cycle a lot on this podcast. It's not a new concept. It's not a concept that was created by me, but it basically describes where all of your results are coming from. Your weight loss results, relationship results, career results, Every result that you have in your life is the product of the think, feel, act cycle. It is a magical tool when you understand it. And in many ways, when I first learned about it and discovered it, it felt like I had unlocked the secret to the universe. In brief summary, the think, feel, act cycle simply describes that the thoughts you have about your circumstances, which is just two neurons in your brain firing together, it's simply a thought you're having, and that thought creates an emotion in your body. Now, emotions can feel very visceral, very real. Emotions like shame, disappointment, self doubt, confusion, confidence, joy, happiness, satisfaction. These are all emotions that we're having. And these emotions are not happening in a vacuum. They're not happening because of the circumstances that you're in. They're happening because of some thoughts you're having about the circumstances that you're in. And these emotions are incredibly important to understand because emotions drive how you show up. When you feel shame, our most reflexive response is to hide or to isolate ourselves. When you feel disappointed, maybe you find yourself holding back or hesitating. When you feel self doubt, you might find yourself second guessing your decisions. When you feel confusion, you might find yourself overthinking your strategy or over researching what you should be doing next. What this framework goes to show is that your actions never happen in a vacuum. The way that you show up towards your weight loss goals, your career goals, or your relationship goals are not happening not just because of any specific way that you are, they're happening because of the thoughts and feelings that you're having about your life. This means that an emotion can stop you in your tracks. It doesn't matter how much you know, it doesn't matter how many diplomas you have hanging on your wall, it doesn't matter how confident you might be about the external wins you've had so far. An emotion can stop the smartest woman. So, the first place that we can create confidence, the feeling of confidence, can come from the thoughts you're having about the wins you've experienced in your life. If you're someone that has had a lot of career success, you might have gotten lots of A's and gold stars, you might have gotten promotions or a lot of accolades from the people in your life. Because of these external metrics that are societal wins, your brain might have lots of thoughts like, you're really smart, you're such an accomplished person, you're so capable. And these thoughts that you're having about yourself create the feeling of confidence. And I really want to take an extra moment to distinguish that the external metrics are not where your confidence is coming from. It's the thoughts you're having about those metrics that's creating your feeling of confidence. Now, the trouble here is when you believe that the A plus gold star positive praise is the reason that you're feeling confident, this is what creates a fragile confidence. The moment that the circumstances change where you get negative feedback, the scale's down a pound, you don't get the A plus, all of a sudden you might notice your confidence dissipate. And this leads me to the second place. And in my experience, this is a deeper space to cultivate confidence. And I think what creates true confidence that's not fragile, that will stand the test of your real life. And that is taking action in spite of confidence. I can remember for so many years, whenever I would experience some embarrassment or disappointment or self doubt about my weight loss results or about my life results or a relationship or my career, I would be waiting for that emotion to just dissipate. Like I had this idea that time will pass and those feelings will just go away on their own. And we have this idea that time heals all wounds. I completely disagree. I don't think that that statement makes much sense at all. I think time passes and all that happens is time passes unless we show up differently. And this exact idea of just waiting for time to pass and hoping that our emotions will change on their own is what left confidence feeling fragile. And this is where I have really been thinking a lot about how we can create confidence even when you don't have results yet. So let's talk about the second place where you can cultivate confidence. And in my opinion and experience, doing this work, which will, by the way, I'm just going to let you know right off the top of the bat, it will feel a little bit more uncomfortable for you to do, but it will cultivate deeper confidence that is not fragile, and it will help you skyrocket results on the scale and in your careers. And that is simply taking action on the next small step, even when you have complete doubt, discouragement, shame, or disappointment. Rather than waiting for your disappointment or embarrassment or shame over missed results or the negative feedback that you might have gotten yesterday to dissipate on its own, which by the way, it really won't. It's just going to sit there unless you do something about it. Taking action with that feeling is the fastest way to not only overcome that emotional experience because you start to populate your brain with new thoughts, it is the fastest way to show yourself that you're actually capable of a lot more than you realize. The truth is, it is possible to sit with shame and disappointment and discouragement and confusion for weeks, months, and years. Ask me how I know. I have done it. And because a lot of my work has really become helping professional women get their time back, I want you to claim your time back, live your best life right now. Because when you are feeling your best inside out, the best parts of you get to show up in your career and in your communities. And so it starts with this one very core concept. If you feel like your confidence is fragile, that it's dependent on external metrics, I claim that you have some deeper work to do. And it can start really simply. It may not always be easy, but it will be simple. Notice the emotion that has held you back from feeling confident, whether it's self doubt about your abilities, maybe you have discouragement or disappointment about lacking results in the past, maybe you have shame or embarrassment in how you showed up yesterday or last week or last month or last year. You might feel confused about exact next steps. Whatever that emotion is that typically stops you in your tracks, it's just an emotion that's making you hesitate. First and foremost, start to become aware that this is just a feeling that you're having. This is called metacognition. It's just a fancy word of becoming aware of your thoughts and feelings. And when you can start to name the emotions that are making you hesitate and holding you back, just validating that this is such a normal human experience to have, that you have some doubt, that you might have some discouragement from the past, it means that it doesn't have to have power over you anymore. And then the second step, and this is the one that is going to feel uncomfortable, but it will also build your discomfort tolerance, which is something we have been talking about on this podcast recently. Focus on the exact next actionable step that you can take in the next 24 hours and go take action. I encourage this to not be a planning action step, but an actual actionable action step. Letting yourself feel the disappointment or the embarrassment or the discouragement that you've had in the past, and then taking action despite that feeling that you're having, will start to train your brain that these emotions are not actually too big for you. It's possible to achieve wins on the scale and in your career and in your relationships, but it only happens when you actually take action in any scenario. One of the things that I have realized is we can spend a lot of time thinking about our thoughts, particularly if you're in the coaching space and you know the power of your mindset and that your thoughts create your feelings, which drive your actions. We can spend a lot of time believing that we need to convince ourselves to believe in ourselves. We think that we have to feel confident first before taking action, or complete clarity before moving forward. But it's actually that exact mindset that holds the smartest women back from making forward progress. So the purpose of today's episode is, yes, your thoughts matter, and believing in yourself and having that confidence that we all love is incredibly amazing. We all love how that feels. It's nice to fly high on external wins. However, what we're talking about on this podcast episode is, number one, to normalize and validate that you're not going to feel confident all the time. In fact, if you're living a big life and if you're facing the many circumstances that we are living with nowadays, you might have lots of emotions under the surface. And rather than using those emotions to hold back on your wins, your goals, your personal and professional goals, I want to invite you to take action despite how you feel. Here's the juiciest thing that happens when you take action on yourself, even when you have doubt, disappointment, shame, embarrassment, or confusion. A part of your brain completely starts to rewire itself. Rather than waiting for the external metric to have confidence, a part of your brain starts to see that we can actually create wins no matter what. And it's that mindset that I want for my community, that I want for all of you. When we start to realize that it's possible to create wins in the face of obstacles, and actually we have a high capability of feeling uncomfortable emotions, even though they do feel terrible at times, to me, that is where professional women can start to thrive, even in environments that really do feel hard. I know that there is so much happening in the world right now, and it can feel really heavy. And also, I still firmly believe that when women feel better inside out, when you feel taken care of head to toe, physically and mentally, the best parts of you get to show up to solving any and every problem. And I think that the world needs more of that. Just to recap this episode, I have found that professional women who are smart cookies with all the diplomas are often operating from a place of a fragile confidence. You feel high when you're doing well, when your patients and clients are doing well, when you have external feedback or external metrics that are giving you the A pluses and gold stars. It's externally validating you in some way, and you feel confident when things are going well. But when things are not going well, your confidence takes a hit, and you might have a lot of thoughts laced in self-doubt, discouragement, and even criticism. The intention of today's podcast episode is to start catching those thoughts and feelings in real time, validating how human it is that you might be having disappointment or discouragement when you're not getting the external wins that you're craving, and also to stop letting your emotions drive how you show up. Simply becoming aware of your thoughts and feelings, this is metacognition, allows you to take back control over your action line, over how you show up. And it's that space, it's a microscopic moment of how you show up, even when you have doubt, disappointment, discouragement, shame, or embarrassment. It's how you show up in that next step, focusing and taking decisive action quickly, that your brain will start to change its relationship with a lot of these big, uncomfortable emotions. Just remember, emotions can stop the smartest woman in her tracks. It doesn't matter how much you know. It doesn't matter how much skill you have. If we allow our emotions to hold us back from making real meaningful progress forward, not only will we get stuck in on again, off again cycles, we'll keep having fragile confidence. And what I want for all of us in this orbit is to be able to show up in our communities and to make meaningful difference. But to do that, we have to be able to take action even when we're feeling the feels. The more repetitions that you put in taking small decisive action today, not waiting until tomorrow or next week or next month or next season, taking action now, even when you're feeling some flavor of stress, is going to completely change your relationship with yourself, and your confidence is going to start running deeper. I hope you enjoyed this concept today. It's one that I have noticed a lot recently as I've been talking with so many of you about working with me inside one of my group coaching programs. We just started our January cohort of Burn, Stress, Lose Weight, Feel Unstoppable. It's 6 months of coaching, curriculum, and community for women that want to achieve a body goal, you want to lose weight, and get 10 hours of time back. We just started that group last week. It's not too late to grab your spot. If you still want to talk about it, you can always send me an email, info@theunstoppablemombrain.com, or head over to burnstressloseweight.com, click the offers button, and you'll see exactly how we can connect, and my brand new offer, which is called the Joyful Project. The Joyful Project is for the professional woman whose primary goal is not weight loss or body, but really focusing on creating life satisfaction and making courageous career or relationship moves that will really pull you forward. If you know that the concepts of this podcast and what we talk about resonate with you, I would love to work with you. Burn, Stress, Lose Weight just started last week, and the Joyful Project is starting next week. You can go and get all of these details over at burnstressloseweight.com. Hit the offers button. You'll see all the different ways that we can work together. Don't let the abundance of choices hold you back from reaching out. I would love to connect with you if this work has been resonating with you, because what I have realized is having a coach in your corner who deeply believes in you and your vision and can show you your blind spots when you are hesitating, when self-doubt, disappointment, shame, discouragement, confusion is holding you back. There is something magical that happens when someone else can show you those blind spots. And it's one of the reasons that I invest so much in coaching and continue to invest in coaching, because it has up-leveled every corner of my life. And that includes my career, my life as a mom, as a wife, and absolutely as a coach. I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. And if you did, I would love to hear from you. Send me a DM over on Instagram. I'm at Burn, Stress, Lose Weight. Or send me an email and let me know what you loved about this episode. I hope you guys all have an amazing, amazing day. I hope we get to connect and work together this year. And if this work has been something you have been eyeing, but you notice yourself hesitating, or you notice yourself waiting to feel completely confident before you work with me, I want you to just notice how you might be left waiting for a long while. Because self-doubt doesn't dissipate on its own. It dissipates by either changing the thoughts that you're going to have about yourself, or by what we talked about today, taking action in spite of your emotions. I can't wait to connect with you, and I hope you'll have an amazing day. I'll see you at the next one. Bye. One lesson that I have learned over the years is when women feel better on the inside out, everyone around them gets to benefit. Your career, your family, you all get to claim the up level. So if today's podcast episode gave you a new way to think, or maybe challenge an old perspective that you've had, take it with you the rest of this week. And if this podcast episode resonated with you, I would love it so much if you could leave us a rating and review, and share this episode with a friend or in your local community. And if you know you want more support and structure in achieving your body goals this year, it might be time for us to work together. Head over to www www.burnstressloseweight.com, where I have the latest resources and all of the information about how you can work with me. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I will see you at the